Well, personally, I've seen that the budgets, the way we take budgeting in this country, it appears that we just take it as an annual ritual. Because if budgets are, conducted, or the budgetary process is executed in the way it's supposed to be, I don't think we'll be having, this kind of issues surrounding, budgets that are presented both at the federal and even at the subnational level. In fact, though we are here to discuss the national budget, but you can see a situation where you have come to a point where a budget can be presented in a day and passed and signed the following day. So you can see that we don't pay, give the importance that is supposed to be attached to budgeting in this country, the necessary attention is supposed to get. However, the budget, if we are looking at it in general terms, we can say, okay, it's an improvement from where we are coming from. The budget for 2023 was, I think, about 22 trillion or thereabout. And this one is an improvement by a sum of over 5 trillion. So we are about 27 trillion. So it shows that, yes, the budget is increasing in size.
But the exchange rates then and now
I'm coming now that we can say that the budget is increasing in size, but the question we should be asking is it increasing in its impact? That is the question we should be asking. And I think if we go deeper, we'll see that there are a lot of issues that we need to address in order for our budgets to work properly.
Okay, let's come to you, Dr. Ikemisi. Comparing this budget, it's just like you said, that it's an improvement from what we had last year, 2023. Oh, sorry, this year, because last year, we are still in 2023, yes, this year. Okay, so comparing the budget with the previous one, let's start at least from 2017 down to 2023, and in terms of the figures. What's obtainable, and having in mind what is obtainable in the exchange rate, what will you say about the figures of this 2024 budget?
Well, thank you. As you noted, budget is policy implementation instrument of government. And then when it's enacted, passed and enacted and signed into law, it becomes a constitutional issue, a constitutional matter, in the sense that the spirit and the letter of the Constitution is embedded in that budget. And it will take you to the welfare side of the government, where I think it's chapter 3 of the Constitution, that the government will take care of the people, address the problems of the people, and be able to chart the way forward for their well-being. And that is, whether you review Nigerian budget today or tomorrow or yesterday, that will be the first plan of budget planners. Then articulate, but the problem is that would they be able to articulate the budget within the context, political economy of it, within the context of the need of the people? And what are the needs of the people? Very simple. It's not only eat food, drink water, sleep, and wake up, food, shelter, and this. No, I think we are past that stage in life. Otherwise, you are talking of in terms of subsistence in the primitive life of an economy. So in this time around, there are a lot of things that will come together, either for the individuals or for the corporate entity of the nation. And that's under the context, you will now be able to say, is the budget measuring up to expectation of the people? Well, the Christian name of the budget is very sweet. Budget of renewed hope. Meaning that in the past there is already hope, or hope lost.
Hopelessness.
Yes, hopelessness. Okay, hopelessness.
So it's now being renewed.
In a state of now, my friend said that something has gone wrong. Now I want to renew, rekindle. And that's why that additional. He made a very good point. What is the impact of the budget to the life of the people, to Nigerians, and then people outside? Because Nigeria is not only a micro economy, it's a macro. So international economics, I think that is the area. So you now see truly the budget, put it futuristically. I doubt whether it's going to achieve the required result.
Well, since
given the fact that the dynamics of international economy are changing. If you don't have war in Iraq, in the Gaza, you have war in
Russia.
So these are like Matthew said, these are the indices that will help you to determine where unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, talking about indices. In fact, soon after the budget was presented to the National Assembly, we got some sectors of the economy of Nigeria saying that they are not in tune with certain appropriation given to them. First on that is the Education Ministry. They said the money allocated to education doesn't cut the mustard seed. That if Nigeria needs to grow, that paltry sum allocated to, you understand, education wouldn't bring us out of the woods. Now, you being a lecturer and being in the educational sector, you understand, do you see the budget as something that will probably, maybe in the nearest future, put an end to these incessant strikes Nigeria universities are accustomed to?
If it's my students, they will say, stray bullets don't hit you.
Just do your day.
I gave my stray bullets. Anyway, we don't need to begin to, re-emphasize that we don't take education seriously in this country. In fact, like borrowing a leaf from what he's just said now, you see, when you talk of welfare, it encompasses, the education and health system. And if you look at the budget we have now, I think that of education is about 1.3, 1.4. I don't have the exact figure, trillion. Then the health is something thereabout. So about 4-point-something% for education, then 4-point-something for health. Now, we have to come from the international, like he mentioned now. What is the global best practice as far as investment in these sectors are concerned? UNESCO has said you should spend at least 26% on education. The World Health Organization has said you should spend at least 10% on health. So if you look at what we have earmarked for these two sectors, you see that we are very far. And it didn't start today. For over 15 years, none of these sectors have gotten up to 10% allocation in the budget. And that goes to, speak on the kind of priorities we place on these sectors. I don't want to come to the fact that, yes, we've been having incessant strikes at the tertiary level. That one is, no. We've been having these issues, and nothing appears to be taken seriously as far as these sectors are concerned, especially education. And mind you, no country can develop beyond this level of education. No, it doesn't work that way. And it's painful with a country that is battling with over 15 million out-of-school children, the highest in the world. And
that number has risen to 18 million.
That's why I said over, because I don't have the current data. So I know it's that alarming. And even those that are managing to go to school, how far? We are talking about the poor attendance rate. Now, there's a vulnerability problem, especially for those who are at the verge of dropping out. The government is trying to, especially at the tertiary level, let me come to the tertiary level where I'm sure of, the government is trying to implement certain policies that will make tertiary education more expensive, and providing an option of a student loan of, I think it was 5 billion. Then after that yacht issue, they increased it to 10 billion. So how many, what is the fate of, the average Nigerian who will not be able to afford that level of education? And we are saying that we shouldn't, complain, or we shouldn't, no. The allocations to these sectors are very appalling. And again, that of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Infrastructure, I think under the Ministry of Works, got about was it about 1 point something trillion as well. So we have an infrastructure deficit in this country of over $1 trillion. So where will the money for this infrastructure funding come from? Now, we talked about money, and sorry, I want to digress a bit. If you look at one of the things that will tell you how serious we are in the budgeting system is the assumptions of the budget. If you look at the assumptions of the budget, it will tell you whether we just want to do that to fulfill our righteousness, whether we want to present the budget to fulfill our righteousness. The first assumption is that the budget, the international crude oil price will be about $78 per barrel. What it is today is about 71. So where is the government projecting or anticipating this increase to come from? Despite the fact we have this ongoing crisis in Russia and this thing, but OPEC is not necessarily favoring, the cuts, significant cuts that will, give be us, in favor, yes, be in favor of its members like we are. Then secondly, you have a situation where we are not even meeting our own production quota. We have never hit our OPEC quota for the past 6-7 years now. So we are aiming to hit 1.8 million barrels per day or thereabout, and our current production has been below $1.2 million. 1.2 million barrels per day. So with what is going on with vandalization, oil theft, and
recklessness,
all the fiscal, that's another time bomb that is going on. So you are anticipating that massive leap. So I'm still looking for where they got that confidence that we can hit that production target. Look at the exchange rate target they put for the assumption. I think it's about is it 700 or so? $7 naira to a dollar. That exchange rate is unrealistic. If you look at what's happening in the forex market, you see that since we quote unquote tried to unify the official rate and the parallel market rate, it has not worked. Why? Because you don't legislate for a currency that does not belong to you. So and when you are not, and again, when you are not in charge of the fundamentals, those things that bring in dollar, like I've mentioned, the crude oil receipts we are not getting, the foreign investments that we are not getting. We are in a country where companies are packing out and living. So how do you get that foreign exchange that will maintain that assumption you are putting there? Then again, Nigerians outside bringing in remittances and the rest of them. Many of them may not, the global economy is not as buoyant as it used to be. So people are struggling to survive out there, let alone sending money back home. Then you talk of debt. We cannot necessarily depend on debt to fund our budget. Not just as the budget, the foreign exchange receipt. So that assumption of the exchange rate is false. They are assuming inflation to be 21 or so percent, 21 point something percent. Inflation as we speak, looking at the recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics, is almost hitting 30%. So how do you think you will have that that kind of massive drop within a year? For things to drop, we have what we call, what do you call that again? Cost push inflation. For you to address inflation in the country, you have to look at what is affecting productivity, so that more goods can come out and reduce the demand pressure. So, but now, what is our level of productivity? We heard the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria the other day complaining, the Lagos Chamber of Industry and Commerce complaining. Manufacturers in this country they are being choked. This one is not let the poor breathe. This lets manufacturers breathe. Yes, if foreign companies are strongly finding it difficult to cope and are leaving, imagine what local manufacturers are passing through. So if you look at the inflation assumption, you see that it's not impressive. Look at the growth rate assumption, 3.6 something percent, that they assume that the budget, the economy will grow at that rate. What is our growth rate now? It's still hovering around 1.2%. So you see, you see that so where do you expect that growth to come from? I know what may have tricked them into putting this figure was that of recent these international rating agencies, Fitch, Moody and Co. have given Nigeria a B positive as far as the rating of our economy is concerned, and they said that it was because of the ambitious reforms that the government brought in terms of subsidy removal and exchange rate unification, which they have been preaching at the IMF and Co. Fine, these things are based on what they expect. It doesn't mean that in the real sense that these things are happening. You understand? So if
Are you now saying that their expectation their hopes might just be dashed at the end of the
Yes, before Uncle. Oh. Sorry.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. You don't. It's not rocket science to look at this thing. The other day, I was listening to I think the Minister of Budget and Planning, Bagudu. Is it Atiku Bagudu? That's his name. Yeah.
Bagudu, yes.
And he was saying that I look at the capital expenditure, the one we spend on infrastructure and the rest, increased by about how many percent from 8.4 trillion to 8.7 trillion as it is today. And I said that yes, it increased on the surface value, the nominal value, but in the real sense, that increase is a reduction vis-a-vis what we spent this year. Because what 8.7 trillion, what 8.4 trillion could afford in 2023, 8.7 trillion will not be able to afford it in 2024. Because in real terms, if you adjust our expenditure for the way prices are increasing due to that inflation I was talking about, and what exchange rate has done to the economy because of we are in an import-dependent country. So if we rely mostly on imports, with this prevailing exchange rate, definitely the price of things will increase. So that 8.7 trillion will not be able to afford what 8.4 trillion is affording today. So in as much as it is the job of the government to be optimistic, to be bullish, so that it will drive away pessimism in the economy, it should do so cautiously, because we should not be seen to be celebrating what we are not.
Okay. All right, let's go back to you, Doctor. In the front page of Daily Independence this morning, we saw where particular people, analysts actually, are telling federal government to prioritize taming inflation, not the $1 trillion economy. That decline in inflation will actually lead to increase in naira value. Now, that's like an advice to the federal government, which we have been preaching here. But my concern is talking about funding 2024 budget. The Senate, they are telling the revenue to generate up to 18.3 trillion naira for the 2024 budget. How realistic is this?
Well,
and who is going to pay all those taxes?
That's a very, very, very vital question. Who bails the cards?
Yes.
And for me, I can bail the cards, provided I'm given required gadgets to tie myself in terms of fighting corruption. That's our problem. Corruption is the problem of Nigeria. Of course, you are aware that the nation has been adjudged to be fantastically corrupt by 5 years ago. So now, what do we say within this period? And frankly, if we'll be able to tidy up some areas, the custom exercise, and the custom, now as our people will say, if we tidy that side, there's hope. If we tidy, help to increase agricultural production, it will also help to support. The National Assembly also will touch them by cutting the cost of governance. reduce government spending on frivolities. I think this time, if they want to be honest to themselves, this is time to prioritize from our wants to our needs. What are our needs? Education, as he rightly said. Even in your family, as of now, if you don't have educated people there, you are already moving to the other side. And then, when you prioritize your priority, you drop unnecessary excess loads. And then, what you'll be earning will now help to sustain the economy. And the question is, will it be possible? And that is where the political will comes in. Don't be surprised by next year, the government, the federal government will do some appointments, appointing new people into position of trust and authority, so as to gain political patronage and political mileage. And these are, when you are paying them salaries, it will also encroach in your earning. So my summary is that government should develop the attitude and aptitude of having the political will to tidy our economy, and then be able to give that people that renewed hope. As of now, realities on the ground, of course you know that internal contradiction in a system destroys the system. And that's what I was able to identify if we are not able to check corrupt practices. My brother, okay, my sister, it will be hard for us to anticipate the best way to handle our economy. Because corruption, somebody called it Nigerian factor, already institutionalized. That is one of the factors that drive the country, corruption. So, and government has also to strengthen the instruments. Of course, you have EFCC, ICPC, and some other control measure that would be used to check these corrupt practices, especially in government.
So you're more like you're telling Nigerians that we need the mercy of the Lord for us to get things done.
No, you don't need the Lord to come down.
No.
We need ourselves. We need ourselves to sacrifice, make sacrifices, starting from our leaders. See them there, starting from them.
We have laws. So you're saying that the laws are not being fully implemented in order for us to get ourselves on track into recovering ourselves.
Especially using the agencies fighting corruption, because that's where my anger is going. If you tidy it up, Nigeria will be good. And it causes us excess load. Once you do it, and part of tightening it up is to cut cost of governance. Nigeria will only. Let me say it, and Igbo can even know. Corruption.
Well, quickly, let me come to you, over the years, we've been having a large chunk of our budget being allocated to fighting insecurity. And as we speak now, even a greater part of it was even still allocated. But who is even safe in Nigeria? Like you rightly said, corruption. So does it mean that the federal government don't even know what the priority of securing lives and property of Nigerians are when they allocate this huge, humongous sum into tackling insurgency?
Everybody.
You know, I have a friend who is in the military, and from my engagements with this person, you know, I want to summarize by saying that it's as if this fight against insecurity has been commercialized, in the sense that some people are feeding off it, such that the day the fight against insecurity will stop, some people will go hungry. And that is why, when it looks as if these threats we are having are subsiding, all of a sudden they just flash up again, and we go back to this thing. And you know, we have been shouting, for instance, you know, efforts we have been putting in place. For instance, they will tell you change our security architecture, change the service chiefs. Maybe they don't change them. What has happened? Change the national security advisor, bring somebody who is outside the military. We have a new national security advisor. What has happened? We need funding. They keep throwing money at it. They keep throwing money at it. But, you know, there are two challenges with throwing money at it. One, the foot soldiers, those ones who are on the ground, once in a while you see them, you know, make one or two videos complaining about poor welfare, poor equipment to fight these insurgents, and that they are left at their mercy. You know, the other day, not too long ago, when I think a military aircraft was shot down with how many officers, over 30 of them on board. And they tried to cover it and no, nothing like that happened. And all of a sudden, when those guys, the insurgents, they said, made videos about it and pushed it out, the federal government now had to start doing damage control. If the officers on ground are not complaining, is it the results that how do we expect a different results in terms of the lessening in these attacks? We have attacks now that even Nigerians are no longer moved when we hear that so village was attacked or so people were, because we've taken it as a normal thing. But that shows you how bad things have become as far as insecurity is concerned. And when you are fighting, instead of you to mistakenly drop one missile on the camp of these guys, you will drop it on an innocent village. And at the end of the day, we just cover it up like that. In fact, the tragedy is that some people are trying to even politicize it, as if, making it look as if it's a North versus West thing or something. It's so pathetic. But we keep spending money on insecurity, but we are not getting the results. So I think, it's for me to say that we need to rethink a strategy. It's not saying anything new. Is it not high time we begin to make public accounts as to how these monies are spent? Yes. I'm not a security expert, but at least I'm a financial expert. Let's show us the money. And when you follow the money, you will know where the problem is from. Just follow the money. So is it because it's the military, that's why they cannot be held accountable? Are there persons who are above the law? Like he said, the budget is an appropriation, and it becomes legal, it becomes binding. That's why you cannot do anything against it. If not, our sister that year that spent money for something on another thing when she was Minister of Aviation, she would have lost her job. So the issue now is this: if we are looking at this thing, we should be talking about transparency in not just the appropriation but in the expenditure. There are some government agencies that are not even captured in the budget. That is like agencies like the Nigerian Port Authority, NIMASA, Nigerian Security Printing and Minting. We have been shouting about the central bank. It's just of recent the central bank started following the normal budgetary process. So how do these monies come in? How do they go in? NNPC is like a sacred cow. In fact, NNPC appropriates money itself. Anything that they have as leftovers, that's what they any amount they decide to give to the federal coffers, that's what they give to us. So you see that the way our budgeting is done, I used to say, it's just like fulfilling our righteousness.
All right, we'll continue with our discussion right here in the studio, but we want to take a commercial break. When we come back, we still have other things we will talk about concerning the 2024 budget as presented.
New Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Milo! Wow.
Life is a collection of moments.
This was so much fun for me.
Moments so precious, they give us memories that last forever.
How can we forget?
First graduating student of the year 2019.
We did it! And of course, a big day.
We believe in celebrating all of life's special moments
I do.
because we are your spark in every milestone. Saint Laurent.
There are certain moments in the day when I need my me time to just unwind and indulge.
Now available in 30 grams and 450 grams.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
All right, you're welcome back to the show. We're still here talking about the 2024 budget. We've said a whole lot before we went on that commercial break. Now, let's talk about replicating of some items in this 2024 budget. Now, when they presented, or when the issue of the supplementary budget came up, people were like, we are almost at the end of 2023. Why bringing up supplementary budget? Why don't you wait and put everything in 2024 budget? But then we have something like renovation of Aso Villa, the presidential quarters in Aso Villa. About 4 billion naira was allocated to it in the supplementary budget. And then the one on Dodon Barracks, about 4 billion naira, making it 8 billion naira. Now, in this 2024 budget, we still have about 500 million allocated to renovation of same quarters in Abuja. And then about 5 billion again allocated to renovation of the Dodon Barracks. Now, what actually is the problem? Why are we replicating things? Does it mean that the federal government, they are not considering all the masses, all we are passing through as a nation, as citizens of this country, and then allocating money over and over again to a particular project? What actually is the problem here?
John.
Yes.
You see, we need to put humor on some of these things we are doing so that we will not be throat cut.
So BP no go kill us.
Kill us, my brother. And that's why my sister, I've said it earlier, that one is the political will of our leaders. Are they operating within the stipulated rules, the Constitution, which we have noted that the budget is that instrument? Is National Assembly tracking the budget? Because that is another angle to it. If they are tracking the budget, they will be able to see or even foresee some of these. If I call it an anomaly, I don't know whether it will be offensive, but let me apologize if it's offensive. The essence of National Assembly as part of the 3 tiers arms of government is to do what? To make laws and oversight the executive and the judiciary. But I don't know, I'm still studying it to know whether they are oversighting or on, is it online or on-site too? I don't know how to place it because I'm still studying that mechanism that is coming in Nigeria, where the legislature could sing. Even I was one day listening to that is the state, a member of a state assembly narrating what governor has done, and I said, is that part of your lawmaking? I asked him. And the same thing is happening in National Assembly. The other day, my friend said, this budget we bring out, is it not passed? My younger son said, this thing Nagana must go budget. You bring your budget portfolio, you bring your Ghana must go. I said, we don't pass that one. Now, would one, the old edition. Now transfer. You just like electronic, transfer the money. And then your budget is passed. So until we be able, members of National Assembly, of course, the other time they were arguing, some of them argued. After spending such huge amount of money to contest for election and then I added to buy votes, don't you want us to replenish? what we have spent. And it's the same process. So anyone which is now be part of the system, they will have the one for supplementary budget to support what they have spent during the election, and then the one in the main budget to complement what is it for their future. Is that only the one you see? Are you sure? You have not seen what they will use for Christmas? You haven't seen it? You haven't noted it? Of course, you should go to your representative at the national level and collect. The person should do something. Somebody said the 300 million. Somebody said this one. You know, of course, these are part of the problems we are having. And that's what I said, that is Nigerian factor. And in a larger way, Nigerian factor is embedded in corrupt practices, not addressing the issue within the context of stipulated law, the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, which is the budget, is part of it. So immediately we'll be able to address it within the context of the spirit and letter of the Constitution. Then you'll be able to address the issue of corrupt practices. The nation will move forward. The people will say, so are we going to cut our hands? No, we're going to revigorate our spirit, our mind, our attitude, our character. Of course, I'm happy with what the new Director General of National Orientation Agency said, that they will now start to build a new Nigeria based on change initiative, that everybody will now be tutored to know his right and every other thing, and then be able to change and then queue in to actualize renewed hope. So that's the mission where we are going. You are involved, I'm involved, because that's part of communication. All of us will come together and then fight. Reorientation of our people, to change our minds, to drop some of these elements that would cause us to be corrupt. But I still wonder, after being fantastically corrupt, any remedy?
You know, some analysts actually divided the budget, like the money, the figures that we are looking at. They said that it's going to be 110,000 per annum for every individual, like for every Nigerian, 110,000 per annum. Now you ask the question, even if we make this budget and decide to share this money to all the citizens of this country, what would 110,000 do for you as a citizen for a whole year, not just for a month?
Well, calculatively, it would be about 3 bags of rice.
For the whole year. So you'll be eating only rice?
3 bags. No.
Okay.
2 bags?
No. Okay. 1 bag is 50 kgs.
Okay.
About 50 or thereabout. 50,000. So.
And the galloping inflation is going higher and higher every day. So, but let them try it. Let them share so that Nigerians will get. If they share from top, we get to the bottom. What of the palliatives? Where are the palliatives now? You see in some areas, the palliative will be the bag will be changed, and you see another picture. So that is the main problem: corruption.
I think we still Nigeria, like they say, is still in a phase of transition. This is one aspect we have seen. Okay. We don't even know what awaits us. But being in the, in the formal sector, what hope do you have for us going forward based on what we have on ground? I'm talking to our lecturer here. What hope do we have?
Solution.
Based on our budget?
Yeah.
First and foremost, we need to take budgeting seriously. If you look at even normally our annual budget are supposed to be derived from the medium-term expenditure framework as stipulated in the Fiscal Responsibility Act. If you look at the components, you will see that we are lacking in a lot of details. For instance, not specifying where certain external borrowing that you use to augment the deficit, where will the borrowing come from? What is the repayment plan like for the borrowing? All those key details are not there. What are the, so most of the borrowing items, borrowing intentions do not have projects tied to them. Because when you look at the ones you've done in the past, you see that certain, for instance, we have the problem of inclusion, because certain zones will be excluded or have been, known to be excluded from certain key infrastructural projects, which the loans are being taken on behalf of every Nigerian. So every Nigerian should get something from what we are borrowing from. That one is not there. Some key aspect of the expenditure component, we have not seen them. They are just general in nature. And again, some of these government agencies are not as transparent as they used to be, especially as concerns their fiscal activities. They are shrouded in secrecy. Even when you approach most of these institutions, empowered with the Freedom of Information Act, many of them will still find it difficult to divulge information.
Critical information.
Yes, critical information. So, una go talk, una go tire, and that's the way they position themselves, and that's it.
If you like
so another thing again, like Chief mentioned, is the issue of oversight. How do you expect the people to oversight? Look at the other day, people were getting excited, because I wasn't so excited about the exchange between Senator Shomole and the Minister for Trade, where he was querying what they used 1 billion to do in a foreign trip, so on and so forth. People were saying, yeah. Outside that, it's just mere talk. Outside that, nothing will happen. Heads will not roll. That's why most of this noise you are seeing, because sorry, I want to call it noise, is so that you will know that he is there. And it starts from even the way this oversight is done. Normally, you are supposed to have committees that will scrutinize these budgets from ministries, departments, and agencies. So when these MDAs come to defend their budget in these committees, you now ask, how are those committees constituted? Where in this country, we heard about the juicy committees. I think we brought in, it's in this country, we brought in that into our lexicon. The same way we brought in stomach infrastructure. That's the way we brought about juicy committees. What are juicy committees? Everybody wants to lobby to get into ministries or agencies where, that are revenue generating, so that when they go there and they cough, they will receive alerts. As Chief has said, no more Ghana. They will receive alerts. So how do you expect those people to scrutinize these budgets, the detail? Then again, you now expect them to oversight. What are they going to oversight? Somebody was asking a sitting minister, why do we need to spend how much? I think about 10 or 11 billion for the vice president's
accommodation
residence in Abuja. And all he had to say was, this thing has been approved since 2010. And what have you done? So it has been approved. Is the approval cast on stone? Sometimes you can review or review certain policies based on your revenue situation. So the way you see that these things we are not taking it seriously. Then again, we should be talking about our non-oil, non-debt revenue, because if you look at the budget, most of the expectation is coming from oil, expected oil receipts and debt. So we should be looking at how to boost our non-oil, non-debt revenue beyond these two sectors. So how? What is going on with our tax collection process? The basic one, corporate profit tax.
People doing business feel the pinch when they pay
tax. You said people doing business. I pity them, because minus the federal FIRS, they still battle with multiple taxes at the state level. Remember not too long ago, state government and federal government were having this bickering as to who will collect what from the VAT, because some were claiming that they contribute more to VAT than other states, so they should get the lion's share. I think that was Kano, Rivers, Lagos, and some other states. So we need to look at how we can improve our tax process, not just from the tax base to the tax collection itself to the tax cost, the transparency in our tax system, so we can we are still very dependent on crude oil because it's very easy to get. Tax is not easy to get. It's a very dirty source of income. You need to be very firm, and we don't have those kind of this thing. Yes, the other time they introduced tax identification numbers, doing this, doing that, all these things. We don't take most of these things seriously. Then again, we need to talk about promoting the non-oil sector, just not mere lip service. We should not only encourage them by creating a conducive environment. What does it cost to provide a conducive environment? People need power, people need security, people need good roads. Provide this basic thing from them and then remove the obstacles that are along the way for them to manufacture, add value to these products, and even export.
Okay, I wish we had more time.
Yes,
We
there's
have
a lot
gone
to
on and
discuss,
on and on, but we don't have any time again because we have the sports segments coming up shortly. Well, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to both of you for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you so much. Chikwe Nonso Ekesiobi, a lecturer with the Department of Economics, Chikwe Emeka Odomegwu Ojukwu University, Badran campus. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you. Compliment on Stacey.
Okay, and also Dr. Dennis Ekemeze, who is an online publisher and a civil society activist. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure being with you, gentlemen.
Okay, I got my life this month.
All right.
All right. All right, well, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you for being part of the show this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye. My name is Chidimma Orango.
And I'm Ajuruchukwu Okabwe. Have a nice day.
Just give me a account number.
Moments so precious, they give us memories that last forever.
How can we forget? First graduating student of the year 2019.
We did it! Of course. Your big day.
We believe in celebrating all of life's special moments.
I do.
Because we are your spark in every milestone. Saint Laurent.